How's it going, guys? My name is Frank and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing our Bitcoin and crypto monthly analysis for the month of February. In this video, we basically will be going through what happened in January and what to expect for February and the months to come. Now, before we do jump into any of our technical analysis, of course, if you are new to the channel, or maybe not new, maybe you're a returning viewer and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. We're currently sitting at 442 subs. If we could push that up to 500, that would be greatly appreciated. We do all sorts of different cryptocurrency content, including our monthly analysis, obviously, like this video, and then we've got a whole bunch of different things like our Coinspot 2024 review, a whole bunch of different stuff, covering new rewards programs, a whole variety of crypto related content, and we post every week. So make sure if you do enjoy this content to subscribe. Now let's jump straight into the charts. Now the first thing I typically like to look at is our 4-year cycle and how that plays out. So I mean, if we just have a quick look, you can kind of get the gist of how this plays out. We've got 1 year parabolic, 1 year down, 2 years of accumulation, 1 year parabolic, etc., etc. And as you can see here, we are currently sitting in our accumulation phase of the market, where we basically will spend about a 2-year period roughly based off history. We can see we got 24 month period where we will roughly go from our cycle low to the prior all-time high, which sits at $69,000. So of course, is this going to play out exactly? Is it a straight line to $69,000 by November 1st, 2024? Absolutely not. But this does give us a rough idea of timing in the market. And you can see that so far things have been charting along quite nicely. Now the black lines you can see on the chart, they indicate the Bitcoin halving. I've just put them there because they do generally, they are pretty important to price for Bitcoin, and they do affect the price of Bitcoin. So, but as you can see, in terms of our 4-year cycle, we are trending along nicely towards our price target of $69,000. Now, what we were saying last month is that we got to start to proceed with caution. Obviously, we have been up now 5 months, or the monthly candle closes in 15 hours. So, assuming we close at the same price we are now, we'll get 5 candles in a row that are green, and we don't see that very often. If we just have a quick look back through history, we got one green month, and then we got 4 green months in a row. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 1 2 1 1. 5 months. 1 1 3 5. So what you can kind of see here is that, generally speaking, particularly in the accumulation areas, which we are in right now, we don't see lots of consecutive green months. Maybe in the green parabolic stage of the market, which you can see, see here. We do get a lot of green months in a row, but in the accumulation phase, we might get 4 or 5. But that's roughly about it. So with this green candle for January, it's really time to start considering, caution, erring on the side of caution, in my opinion, because obviously 5 months in a row, maybe we get a 6 month, maybe February's green, but sooner or later we're going to just have a big red month. It's going to happen. Just based off the price, you can kind of see it starting to lose some of its steam, just like it did previously. If you just have a look at the general, very, very, very simple technical analysis. If I get my brush, you can kind of just see prices just rolling over. It's slowing down. You can kind of see that starting to happen here again. So we might have a similar period to what we had last year in August, or around August, that March to August period, where we basically just stagnated. We could get something similar to that. We could come down, and then something funny around the halving. I think the halving will be where we really or after the halving, I should say, is when we're going to start to see some considerable gains for Bitcoin. I think prior to the halving, it's going to be a lot of choppiness, a lot of churning, not too much generally. I think what we're going to see is a 1 or 2 months down, maybe March, maybe April, something like that. And then after the halving, or maybe just before the halving, we'll start to take off again, sort of thing, and set our eyes towards our November 2024 target. And that might be some not really what you're wanting to hear, that price is going to basically do nothing for the next couple of months, maybe just chop and churn around. But the simple matter of fact is that if I can get this right, 2023 was a really, really good year for crypto, or for Bitcoin in particular. You can see this is just January to January. We had about 156% returns, and it all accumulated in the great, Bitcoin ETF news. And, people are probably buying in up here thinking the ETF, we're going to the moon, but that's just not going to be the case. If we just have a look where price is going to go from now until November, assuming that our 4-year cycle thesis continues to play out, we're only looking at 60%, which is still a considerable gain if you're willing to sit it out. But people who have bought the last couple of months thinking, wow, Bitcoin's up 150% this year, I'm going to get in, and next year it's going to do even more, that's just not going to be the case. We may see some good gains, absolutely, but 2024 is not really going to be as exciting a year, unfortunately. I think after 2024, I think if we're looking forward and towards 2025, I think 2025 will be pretty good. I think we might see 100% push, but it's hard to say at this point in time. But 2024 is really just going to be a bit of a accumulation phase for people who missed early, or people who got in early and are looking to continue to load up. But what we're really going to be seeing is a bit more of a transitionary period for Bitcoin and the crypto market. Now onto the Bitcoin daily chart, things are looking they were looking pretty bad, but now they're kind of just in a bit of a limbo state where we're above some support, but we're below some key resistance. So we just kind of want to sit and wait here. I'm still leaning towards the bearish side, just because, as we said before, we've now going to have 5 months up. But if we take a look back in time, I posted this on January 12th. This was right after the ETF news. I said, hopefully my face cam isn't in the way. Bitcoin is looking scary with a big reversal candle right onto the monthly swing top at 48,000. There's a good chance of a pullback over the coming weeks. The macro picture is still intact. We could still push higher, but 5 months up is a sign of, and signs of weakness are concerning. So what we're saying is similar things. So we got 5 months up. This is pretty concerning. Just being up for 5 months, it generally means that we're going to have at least 1 month of a pullback. And in particular, if you have a look at this big key red candle here, if we go back and find it on the chart, it is this one right here, where our monthly swing top on, January 11th, and you can kind of see how volume spiked on that as well. I've got the key arrows pointing towards the candle, pointing towards the volume, and obviously as well, if we have a look across our chart, it comes in line with our monthly swing top at 48,000. So that was a big sign of weakness, getting rejected on volume at a monthly swing top, and that's how I basically said, okay, this is probably going to need to come down and retest some low prices. We came back down very quickly to our 50% level at 42,000, and which also was pretty well in line with the trend line, broke down below that, and then we came up and it looked like we were going to retest and basically just get rejected. That's what I was thinking at the time, but we've actually broken above, and this is what I'm saying, we're kind of in a limbo spot because we're above some key resistance, but we're also below, we're above key support, but below some key resistance, and we're just kind of in a limbo spot at the moment. If price from here can go up and consolidate above, great. We're looking bullish for at least some period of time, maybe February, maybe into March, I'm not sure. But if price is quickly rejected, it's going to look bearish, and we're going to probably test lower, at least test this wick low, or come back down and test somewhere around here. So it's basically just a waiting game here for Bitcoin on the daily, in my opinion. That's how I'm playing it at the moment. On the monthly, we are looking a little bit scary, but Bitcoin is still in a macro bull market. Obviously, I mean, look at where our monthly swing lows are, and if we came back down and tested the mid-30s, that wouldn't be concerning, in my opinion. That's not going to invalidate any theories. It's just going to be a bit of an accumulation time, in my opinion. So now if we have a look at Bitcoin dominance, what we're basically looking at here is where we've been saying 2024 is going to be a transition year, where we likely go from a Bitcoin bull market to a bit more of an Ethereum and altcoin bull market. You can kind of see that starting to play out on the Bitcoin dominance, where we've got we've got some key support lines that we've been breaking below. We've formed a lower high, we created a lower low, and depending on where this high comes in, we might just start to see Bitcoin dominance roll over. I think a key target for me still is, oh, if I reverse what I just did, hang on. If I can stop touching the 50% level, my key support level is this 50% at 49%. I think that's a reasonable level that we'll come back down to eventually. I'm still looking at that over the coming months. Bitcoin dominance coming back down and testing 49%, and then probably springing away a little bit. That wouldn't surprise me. But at this point in time, it's pretty clear. You just have to look at it in terms of what's the trend doing. If the trend is higher lows and higher highs, then well, we're in a bull market, or a Bitcoin dominance bull market, but now we can kind of start to see, okay, well, we've got some lower highs, we got some lower lows. Things are just looking a little bit concerning. We rode Bitcoin dominance up whilst it was possible. We were calling these push-ups into the mid 50%, and it's happened. And now we're starting to see signs of weakness. So we basically just flip. We just follow the charts. Okay, well, the chart's telling me that Bitcoin dominance is looking weaker, so we need to reconsider our portfolio allocation. Should we be investing heavily in Bitcoin anymore, or should we start to look at other alternative investment options like Ethereum and like altcoins? That's not to say that Bitcoin is going to be a poor investment by any means. As we said, Bitcoin probably going to go up 60% this year, maybe more, maybe less, but roughly around that area is where we're looking. So Bitcoin's still a very, very good investment for this year, but it's probably not going to do as well as some alternative options like Ethereum and some altcoins. So let's take a look at Ethereum now. So we've been looking at Ethereum for a long time now, and basically we've had this really strong trend line, but what we've kind of seen happen is we've held our 50% level, we've springed away, we've broken key resistance. We can see, resistance, support, resistance, and then we finally break above. You can see there's a little consolidation period in here. This is the weekly chart as well. So this is, a few weeks where we're hanging around this level, and then we spring away yet again. And then we look at the next resistance level, which we drew up on our last couple of monthly analysis videos, which is the 50% level, which if I can find the bottom. Are we on a logarithmic chart? We are. That's why it's so, hang on. That's why it's so massive. But if we have a take this off log, you can see this is our $0 to our all-time high, and the 50% at $2,400 roughly. And you can see we've just been rejected from that. We, got to close above marginally, and then we instantly came back down. So it wouldn't surprise me if from here, especially as we said, Bitcoin showing signs of weakness, if Bitcoin were to fall over the coming month or two, let's say, if Ethereum were to come back down and maybe test the 50%, or sorry, the prior support that we were talking about, as well as this trend line that we've seen hold up, that wouldn't be surprising. That would probably be the next buy area that I'm looking at, that $1,900, $2,000 range. If I was looking at dollar cost averaging into Ethereum, or Ethereum, it wouldn't surprise me either if we just continued to rally up from this point in time. You can still see that it's not really breaking any lows. If we were to pump up from here, then that would be great, obviously, but I think it's showing just a little bit of signs of weakness. So if we come back down to around that $1,900 to $2,000 range, that wouldn't be surprising. That wouldn't be cause for concern. That would just be dollar cost averaging, in my opinion. Now, CRO is an investment that we've been looking at, and has changed drastically over the last month. We've been looking at this being a big Wyckoff accumulation. So if we just have a look at this schematic that we've got on screen, you can kind of, if you're new to this, you can see the similarities. They're pretty clear. And what we were looking at this range here being was our last point of support and sign of strength. Now that's not to we were looking at this part here where we kind of price kind of compresses, and then it breaks out into a phase E. But we kind of have seen, CRO start to show some serious signs of weakness. Obviously, it looked like we were in this nice consolidation, and that perhaps we're going to get a phase E breakout. I mean, and we've been calling a lot of these moves quite nicely. The spring, and then the test, and then the the breakaway, we looked at that pretty well during the time. But since then, we've kind of seen some signs of weakness. You can see that if we look at our key support levels, so we've got our monthly swing top at about 8.3 cents. We've just started to break below that again. Our 50% level we've broken down on, although it's not actually, hang on. There we go, that's a slightly better spot. You can see we got rejected off the 50% level pretty nicely just before. So definite signs of weakness. I think we do need to start to reconsider, is this a phase D, last point of supply, sign of strength? I'm starting to think maybe not, or even if it is, just price showing these signs of weakness means that it's going to take a lot longer to get the eventual breakout above 10 cents, because that's kind of what we're looking at here, right? We've been saying a long time 10 cents is going to be the key resistance level. We came up to it and we got rejected pretty hard. So it's going to take a little bit longer. It could take months. It could, take 6 to 12 months till we come up and start to retest 10 cents again. Is that the end of the world? Not necessarily, because I think once we break out above this, it is going to be a lot better for the price. But, we do have a lot more work to do. So the idea that CRO breakout of 10 cents is inevitable, well, yeah, but it's going to take longer than we would have liked. So if we're looking at how we're changing our thesis was that, this breakout could happen really, really soon. But now our thesis is, well, we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to kind of see where these lows come in. If we can form a higher low off the spring, on the monthly, on the monthly chart, that's kind of what we need to look at. So here we are now on the monthly. If we can see a higher low form, say even if it's down at 6 cents, say we break off that, and then from there we can push up higher. That wouldn't be terrible, but you can kind of see, if we're looking at these moves, it might be April, May, before we start to see a breakout of 10 cents. So, that's kind of where I'm looking at now. If we can't hold 6 cents, then, that's pretty terrible in my opinion, but holding 6 cents is the key now. Do we come back down and test it? I'm not 100% positive, but only time will tell with CRO. Okay, so now time for some altcoins. So we looked at Solana. I'll try and find the post quickly for you guys. Where is it? Here it is. So we looked at Solana right when just after the price had that big pump up, that we're probably going to come back down to around $80. That's kind of the price we've been saying, around $80. And well, we pretty well just wicked below $80, and since then have sprung away. So if you listen to my advice and you had a buy order on $80, well done, that's a miracle. But that might be it for the $80 range, if I'm being truly honest, because you can kind of see Solana is looking really strong again, breaking the trend line that was holding us down. Obviously, if we can start to see, I think the next bullish thing is that if we can come down, form a higher low, that would be the next buying opportunity, because we could probably spring away, or maybe there's always the option that we just roll over back down into that 80 cents, and then we can scoop up at, not 80 cents, at that $80 range. And then if we can scoop up in around that $80 range, that's perfectly fine also. But for now, yeah, so next buying opportunity for Sol, I'm going to predict, or that's, in my opinion, will be that higher low if we can form one. That's a big if we can form a higher low, but only time will tell. I think there is a good chance here, because Sol is looking like one of the stronger tokens in the altcoin market right now. Now, last month we were looking at ICP, breaking above this key resistance line, and also potentially being in a phase D, similar to what we were talking about with Solana months ago, when we were talking about Solana being in a phase D and then it breaking out. But what we're looking at with ICP was, is this a bit of a consolidation phase D period? And it was. So we uploaded that last monthly analysis video on the 28th or the 29th, I can't quite remember. So we uploaded it then, and then obviously price sprung away pretty quickly. Now, obviously it has retraced quite a bit, but it's not terrible signs yet. It's kind of just increased the consolidation period, in my opinion. We were kind of looking at this sort of range initially. Okay, here's our consolidation and then a clear breakout. Whereas now we're just kind of, okay, well, now we've got a bigger consolidation period, right? where we're waiting for price to see what it can do. It is still looking like a strong token at the moment, just because we're above prior resistance and we are still creating, higher prices, but we need to look at breaking out again if we are to continue higher. But I think ICP will be subject largely to what Bitcoin and the overall market does. So as we said, potentially a couple of bearish months coming up, we could actually come back down a bit lower than we would have liked. But, we'll have to just wait and see. If you were able to make that trade that we were kind of talking about with ICP being in a, consolidation phase D period, and then, trade the breakout, there was a pretty good, I think, it was at about $9 when we did that last video, and then it pumped up to, $15. So good 50% there if you were able to buy and sell. I don't cover ICP too often, but it is still looking good, but not as good, just because of the overall market at this current time. Now, Trust Wallet token is another one of my altcoin picks going into the next bull market. Now, it's not necessarily a buy at this exact moment in time, because you can see there are some short-term signs of weakness coming up to the a major 50% level from the all-time high to $0. You can see that we were rejected off of that line, and then the shorter time frame from the low at roughly 70 cents to the high up at roughly $1.80, also rejected off that 50%. So two 50% levels failed to break above, and then you can kind of see that price has been churning down. So there is a good chance with Trust Wallet token that we do come down and test the trend line again. You can see it has proven to be pretty strong support so far. Now, if the trend line can't hold, it's hard to say. What we really want to see is just continued higher lows for Trust Wallet, and I think that if we're looking at the trend line at roughly, I just keep moving these 50% levels by accident. If we're looking at this trend line at roughly, what is it, 90 cents, it could take, this is the weekly chart, remember, but it could take quite a few weeks to come down and hit this level. It could take us into March even by the time, and then by then, Bitcoin could be back in a bit of a bull market, and then we can see price sort of spring away again. So I'm not rushing into Trust Wallet token at this point in time, but it's definitely looking stronger just from the a wider or a larger time frame perspective. But definitely looking at trying to find the right time to buy, which I think is coming up pretty soon for Trust Wallet token. Now, in summary, it's getting pretty dark outside, so it's getting darker in my room, and my monitor is making me look more pasty. So we've got to wrap this up really quick, guys. So in summary, for our monthly analysis for what month are we going into? February. Bitcoin is ultimately looking a little bit weaker. We need to err on the side of caution over the coming months prior to the halving. I think the halving will be a bit of a turning point. If we come down for a couple months now, maybe we go up after the halving, or if we continue up into the halving, if we have another 2, maybe even 3 months up, which would just be absolutely crazy, then I think the halving is where we'll get a big correction. But I think it's going to be one of those two. I'm leaning more towards the correction into the halving, and then the halving, and then a push away. So, only time will tell. Bitcoin dominance is showing signs of weakness. So, we're looking at more of a transition year for the market from a Bitcoin to an Ethereum sort of bull market. ETH is looking strong overall, but as we said, we probably are going to get a pullback. There's a chance to around that $19 to $2,000 range, or $1,900. Sorry. CRO is looking a lot weaker at the moment. It's still looking good on a macro sense, on a monthly sort of time frame, but we just need to see where that low comes in for the monthly time frame until we can sort of make a bit more of an analysis on what we can do and how we can position ourselves, because obviously the last couple of months haven't been quite as good of a phase D as we would have liked. So maybe we're still just in an accumulation phase. That's something we need to sort of consider. SALANA is looking a lot stronger. Maybe if we can find that higher low and look to buy in on that higher low, or if price comes back down into that $80 range, I would be happy to start buying up. ICP, it looked really strong. We got that breakout from that $9 range up to about $15, but then obviously price has retraced quite a bit, and with Bitcoin looking weaker, it is just looking a bit weaker for ICP at the moment. And then of course Trust Wallet token, same thing again. Macro looks really good, but just on that short term time frame, it's probably going to come back down and test the trend line. Maybe around that 90-cent range is a good possibility for the Trust Wallet token. But only time will tell. As we said, Bitcoin, if it could just continue rallying up. There's always that possibility. I don't have a magic 8 ball in front of me. I can't tell you guys what is going to happen. I can only just give my opinion from based on the charts. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy, remember to like and subscribe. Let's push this up to 400 subs. And also my Twitter, you can see I do post quite a bit on Twitter, just of a whole bunch of different technical analysis. And if you are into these monthly analysis videos and you want to keep up with my thesis during the month, or you could even get ahead of what my videos are going to say, because you can see that my last post was actually me saying Solana could come back and form a higher low, which is basically still what we're talking about at the moment. So you can get a little bit earlier access to some of my opinions on the market if you follow my Twitter. But definitely thank you guys all for so much for watching. I do also have some referral codes down in the description below. If you do want to sign up to any exchanges, get $10 worth of free Bitcoin. That is always an option. And I'll see you in the next one.